But in my today's I will not say lecture, today's discussion, I am going to cover all the different types of routing. So what do you mean by a dynamic routing? See, last unit or last training session, I have shown you that static routing and default routing, whereas configured manually. But here we have to enable the routing part, and automatically routing will take place. So if we talk about dynamic routing, there are two types of dynamic routing. One is within gateway, within routing gateway. For example, you have an organization. For example, Amity University is an organization. So within that Amity one campus, I am having around 10 routers. So in that 10 routers, we need to activate routing. So in that case, we have to go for a the routing within the gateway. So that is called inter-gateway routing. So in that routing, that is IGR, we are having basic three types of routing, that is RIP, IGRP, and OSPF. I can practically show you this three things. So RIP has three versions: RIP version 1, version 2, and version 3. Let me tell you, RIP is Routing Information Protocol. So RIP was introduced, early 90s, and that time there was not a concept of classful routing and TIDR and all. So classful network was not there. So RIP version 1 introduced with that concept, but there were a lot of issues with that RIP version 1. That is count to infinity problem. Then the problem with the horizon, split horizon problem. For example, router is connected to north, south, east, west, but all the data are calculated from different zones, has been sent to that zone again, because routing protocol means RIP is not well aware of. So there was a solution for that. Yeah, Nitin sir. कुछ कह रहे थे क्या? ठीक है कोई नहीं. So RIP, EIGRP, OSPF, over the year of time, they have evolved. So RIP for IPv4, that is Internet Protocol version 4, we use RIP version 2, and I will be, giving the demonstration. In that duration, I will be rather, covering I will be covering that different advantages and disadvantages of routing information protocol. So RIP version 2 is used for IPv4 addresses, whereas RIP NG, that is next generation, is used for IPv6. The IGRP, we are having both IPv4 and IPv6, that is the IGRP for IPv4 class-based routing and IPv6 class-based routing. There is no such changes. OSPF also changed over the year of time. So OSPF version 2, that is again for IPv4 class-based routing, and OSPF version 3, that is for IPv6. So RIP version 2, let me just start. I will give a small demonstration with RIP version 2. Then what I will do, I will be again going with the same topology and discuss something with EIGRP for IPv4, then OSPF for again IPv4. Okay, clear? So let's take a router. So 295.168.1.1 2911 router. So 2911 router, if I wanted to have a WAN port, what I have to do? I have to power off this, and then I have to use that HWIC 2T module. So just taking a HWIC 2T module and then I'm powering it on. So these are two routers. I'm just naming them as R1 and R2. Okay. So here I've just given a name R1 and I've given a name as R2. So here in this case, R1 is connected to, for example, the network 192.168.0.0 network, 192.168.1.0 network, 192.168.4. You can take any router. So, you can take any number of devices or anything as an IP address for your home network. So, I have taken router and here I'm actually taking three features, each one, and again I'm taking that is PC1. Similarly, for example, switch code here. Okay. Then I'm just creating a topology, okay, for the better understanding. And taking three switches and three PCs for just creating a topology. So for example, R1 is connected. Here I'm just creating a connection. So from gigaport 002, I'm just taking gigaport 01, then gigaport 01 to gigaport 01, and gigaport 02. Similarly, here gigaport 01. Here in this case, I have created a free LAN link, and I have also created a LAN link also. So for example, our R1 is DC. So serial 0002, serial 000. This is the connection. And this is the topology I have created for example. So very basic, simple, configuration. All of you can create such topology for better understanding. So they require the routing because R1 and R2 are two different routers. So R1, this is connected to this three networks. So let's just write the configuration. Enable config T interface gigaport 00, move short, then we have to write IP address 192.168.1 255.5. So in the similar fashion, so this is the configuration. This is the configuration of all the three different networks. So 0.0 network, as I said, is connected to gigaport 00, 192.168, 1.0 network. So this is the gateway. So this network is connected through gigaport 01. So this is another network. So router can connect to different networks. So this is the configuration of, for example, R1. So I'm just configuring R1. Okay. So let's go and paste it here. So you can see all the LAN links are enabled. Yes, anyone having any query can ask. I hope no one has any query here. So what we can do, we can configure the WAN port also. So I'm just doing one thing. I'm also configuring the WAN port. So what I can do, here I can type interface serial 000. Then I can write no shut. Then I can write log rec, but this is a DC, so 128. Then I'm giving IP address 10.0.0.1 255.255.255. Again, this is my configuration for router 1. So if you want, I can post it in the chat box. So let me post it in the chat box as well. So it's R1 configuration. This is the basic configuration. Just copy and paste it. Similarly, I'm going to do the configuration for R2. So this is the R2 configuration. What I'm going to do is I don't require a clock rate there. Here I'm just going to give 2. And in that case, what I'm doing, I'm taking a network of 172.16, 172.16. Just I'm taking a different network altogether there. Okay. So this is the configuration of R2. Okay. Again, I can post it in the chat box. So you can actually see the configuration. If you are configuring with me, it is better always do a hands-on with me. This is the configuration of R2. If you go and check the configuration of R2 and R1 is completed. Both the LAN. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give IP address to the PC address. It's very easy to do it. So this is 192.168.0.8. It is easy to give IP address in that section. Okay. So this is for PC1. This is for TCP. TCP was having IP 1.10. So this is the gateway. Very simple. So I have to give the IP address here. Then go to the PC and we need to give the IP address. Here it will, I'm giving 2.10. So I have configured PC1. I can check by changing from PC1 to R1. Let's see, this is successful. I can also ping from PC2 to R1. This is also successful. PC3 to R1. This is also successful. So again, I can validate the routing table of R1. I can go and check it. That the basic configuration of which we have done in the previous module also. That is, this was the basic configuration. You can go and see the tutorial there. So this is the basic configuration. What I have done, I have configured this for LAN interface and WAN interface, and all are this is basically default routing because all are connected. Okay. Similarly, I can go and do it for PC4. What I have to do, I have to give a IP address over there. So PC4, here I am giving IP address 172.168.0.8. dot 16 dot 0 dot 1. Sorry, 172 dot 10. We have to be little careful about the subnet mask. So that is 255K. My PC code really have to go and configure 5. So here I'm subnet mask and change here. Default gateway. Okay. So PC5 again I configure. Similarly I can go and configure this PC 2.10. And setting the default gateway. Then I can go and change from our PC code to R2, then PC5 to R2 and PC6 to R2 as well. So in this case, if I would like to, what I am going to do is, I'm going to save this configuration. I would like to reset software. This is the basic configuration. Now I have saved it. Now what I am going to do is, I am going to configure first RIP. So it's a very easy configuration in case of RIP. What I have to do here in R2 and R1, I have to enable RIP. Let's see how I can enable RIP. Again, I have to type config C enable config C. Now I have to write router RIP. After that, please do not specify any routing territory. That is the problem of RIP. That is, it does not have any autonomous system. If you are taking 100 routers, you cannot bifurcate that in that 100 routers, 50 will be for one territory and another 50 of another territory. That you cannot do. That you can still do or try to do it in IPv6, but IPv4 is not possible. Normally in other routing protocols like EIGRP and WASE-PF, what we can do, we can go and configure, that WASE-PF with a territory. For example, I am having 10 routers and I have decided that this particular 3 routers will be member of this particular routing zone. Okay. So I can bifurcate that this particular router in this particular territory, other routers in that particular territory, and routing gateway I can have, and I can also have a, in between two routing gateway if I am configuring, I can actually plan accordingly. But here, if we are planning to configure RIP, we don't have such autonomous system concept here. So router RIP, after that, few things you have. Okay, just go and see. I'm just going to explain you that. See, auto summary. So I'm going to show you RIP version first. So here in this case, first thing is auto summary. That is by default enabled here. So what you have to do, you have to always write no auto summary in RIP version, so that it should not convert. Okay. Now, if you wanted to have any other static routing which is also there, that information if you wanted to originate, then you will be writing default information originate. So these things, and you can also create a exist means go out, then you have to specify the network. Okay. So here in this case, what you have to say here, 192. We don't have to specify any subnetwork here. So we just have to write the network. Okay. These are the 4 networks which is part of my routing table. So I have to broadcast this routing table. So 0, 1 and 2. Then I am having 10.0.0.0. Then I have to write no auto command. So this system that I have to write exit, and I have to also specify the passive interface. So how we can do it? I have to write passive interface gigaport 00 because these are my LAN ports. So I don't want to make them I don't want them to be participating in the routing process. I have to write that redistribution static again, and timers and versions I will be coming to that. Okay. So here the next thing what you have to write is version 2. Okay. So this is the configuration of it. So I have to go and test it. Now you can see this version 2 configuration here. So this version 2 again enable, then you have to write 160, then router rig, and after that this basic configuration. This version 2, then you have to specify the network. So here, so this part is I can write, instead of writing 172.16.0.0, 1.0, 2.0, I can write this because this is the original network. Others are subnetted. So I don't have to write in that case that 3 networks, rather the parent network. That's why I have intentionally taken this one. Now I am configuring passive interface gigaport 00, 02, 03, no auto summary and exit. Okay. This is the configuration which I need to do. So I am just going to router 2 and do the configuration. Okay. So now you can see both the routers are configured with read. How do I know? I have to go to the routing table, click the routing table. Okay. Now you see the entire network 172.16.0.0. This network is now known to me, but this is the convert network. There is a replication. So this should be removed because I have already written no auto summary. So this auto summary should be removed. Okay. So anyway, now let me ping from PC1 to similarly in the both the router, all networks are visible. So I can go and check it in the routing table. This is the routing table. Initially this 3 networks was not there. Now these 3 networks are there. That means all the networks are now visible to both the routers. Now if I wanted to ping from PC1 to PC4, you can see it is successful. Similarly, from PC4 to PC1 it is successful. So the entire routing has taken place. So this is a small topology I have demonstrated this. IP G4 certificates. So there are a few things also there that is called timers. RIP has got different type of timers. So I'm just writing router RIP, and then I'm writing timer. Now you can see that there are basic intervals are there. So we are having the timers with different values. That value we can change. So default these values are there. That we can change, and we can change the timer value. Okay. We should not do it, but if we still feel that we can go and change the values of the timers, we can go and do it. Okay. We can also have some other things. Give me a second. शिवम बताओ. हेलो. हाँ. मॉर्निंग. पिछले बार दिए थे ना वो दिक्कत. अभी एग्जाम करो, कल परसों में मैं पूछ लूँ. हाँ. 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 61. 70 में 61. बोलो 70 में 61 तो बहुत है. हेलो. हाँ. 80 से ज्यादा आएगा ना. 60 जिसका है बट वो 90 तक आ सकता है. 59 वहाँ भी तो 25-26 है. 90 के आसपास. 90 क्रॉस नहीं होगा. 90 के आसपास आएगा. ठीक है. हाँ. बाकी कुछ नहीं पता है. देखते हैं अभी रिजल्ट वगैरह अपडेट होगा तो. हेलो. ऑडिबल. सॉरी, गॉट ए कॉल. Thank you. So this is a basic RIP configuration. Now I'm going to do RIP ng. So to do so, what I have to do, I have to take some. So this is a basic sample configuration of RIP version 6. So you can go and check it. I have posted in the chat box. Now I am going to show you RIP ng. To configure RIP ng, what I can do, I can create this IPv6 address everywhere. So what I can do is, I can type enable, then config key, then first I have to write in IPv6 unicast routing. Okay. So let's go and do it. Enable config key IPv6 unicast routing. Okay. Then sorry, noise is coming from maybe the so after IPv6 unicast routing without okay. So once we write IPv6 unicast routing, now I can actually enable IPv6 addresses and then RIP ng also. So I have to go and give the IPv6 address. So for example, interface 0400, then I am writing IPv6 address, then 2001 colon 1, the first interface, and then colon 1 /64. Okay. So this we can do. let me go and paste it here. Similarly, hello, and sometimes there are some network issues. Here is Praveen sir. Okay, so I'm creating IP address in all the three interfaces. That is 1, 2, and 3. This is 3 interfaces I have created, and then I can also go and keep the IP address, that is 0, and then I can write IPv6 address then 2001 colon DB8 colon 1. हाँ करिए मैम बताइए. मुझे कुछ नहीं पता मैम, अगर था नहीं ना मीटिंग में. मुझे आइडिया नहीं है. हाँ हाँ ठीक है. हेलो हेलो. हाँ हाँ. My audio is coming? Okay. So, okay, thank you. So this is the IP, V6 address which I have given for all the, different ports. So you can go and configure the same in R1 also as well. So now next thing what I have to do, I have to go and check the IPv6 routing table. So let's see. This is the IPv6 routing table. So the gigaport 01 and gigaport 00, 01, 02. This is the 3 networks. Then serial 000. This is also thing created here in the routing table. Similarly, what you have to do, you have to create this in the R2. So what I am doing, this is 1, 2, 3. Then here I can keep 4, 5, and 6. And this also has IPv6 routing. You can see this R1 and R2 got a routing table. And now what we need to do, we need to activate this engine. To do so, what I have to do, I have to go to R1, then I have to start the configuration of with LG. So what I can do, IPv6 router, then I have to write IPv6 router read, then I'm giving a name. So this is first almost need to do enable IPv6 writing. Right there, IPv6 router link. Then you have to give a name, any name. I'm giving Cisco. This is the first configuration. Then what you have to do, you have to specify few things here. That is, then again, no auto summary if you would like to do, redistribute, or any other things if you need to do, you can go and do so. Then, what you have to do, you have to go to the interface, int gigaport 00. Then here, what you have to write is IPv6, then the switch forward, then you have to write network. So this much we need to write here. That is, just to go to all the interface, the port 00, you have to write that. Then you have to go to gigaport 01, you have to write that. Then gigaport 02. So same thing, we have to go and configure in R2. That I'm going to do here. So once we do that, then we can go and check the routing table of IPv6. It has not been checked. So if it is not there, you need to write a couple of commands here. IPv6 CS or CS. Go and see Cisco Express forwarding needs to be there. So IPCS and then therefore we must go and check the routing table. If it's not there, then we are careful. Go and see that if any other routing rules should be configured. Okay. Then I'm just writing the first line. IPv6 router thing. There is nothing called redistribute or anything. Not is happening, happens to be not there. So let's fix it. After IPv6 CA we have enabled, IPv6 unicast router we have done, IPv6 router in capital. So what go to interface 000, right? this time I think okay, we have reached the serial interface. That's the main problem. When local there I think so it was not working because I missed out on the main interface. Okay. So that's why it was not coming. I have to go and check the now routing table. Now you can see both the routing tables is 128 visible. Okay. So REAP has been enabled here. So this much is the command for enabling REAP. Okay. So this is for the configuration of REAP NG. So we have completed REAP NG. So this is the configuration of REAP NG. So just stick it in the chat box as well. So this much we need to go and configuring both the routers for REAP NG. See the configuration is same. Now what I am going to do is I am going to configure EIGRP. So REAP NG I have completed. So REAP I have completed. Now I am going to cover something that is of the next routing protocol, that is EIGRP. I'll just cover EIGRP and then move to OSPF. So there are advantages and disadvantages of EIGRP and OSPF. Initially EIGRP there was a lot of stress or lot of promotions from Cisco because EIGRP was Cisco's only proprietary protocol. Now it is not, so that's why they have not used EIGRP here at the basic level. But we need to learn basics of this routing protocol. I'm just covering that part. So let's go and touch upon this EIGRP. So what I'm doing, I'm just quickly reload all the routers. So I'm reloading the first router. No, I'm not saving. Reloading. So after quick reloading of both the routers, you can see the routing table has, there is no problem with the routing table. So now I'm going to demonstrate EIGRP, and we have to first create a autonomous system number. For example, R1 and R2 both are in same autonomous system. I have decided both are 1. So I have to go and do it. So first I'm writing enable configure config key, then I'm writing router EIGRP, then I have to write 1. Okay. After that, all the configuration what we have done for script will be more or less same here. Then enable, then config key, then after that router EIGRP1, then I will see start routing, that is network there it is 192.168.0.0. Then I have to use a wildcard mask. So if anyone does not know what is a wildcard mask, please let me know. I'm just waiting 1 minute. If someone does not know what is wildcard mask, it's just a complement of subnet mask. Please let me know, I will explain. Anyone having any doubt with this? Yeah. So for example, I am having a subnet mask that is 255.255.248.0. The wildcard mask is complement. So I have to just subtract 255.255.255.255. I have to subtract and calculate the wildcard mask. So here in this case it will be 0.0.7.255. So if you add subnet mask and wildcard mask, it has to be 255.255.255. So in our case, it was 0. This was the subnet mask. So in our case, this will be the wildcard mask, that is 0.0.0.255. So this is my wildcard mask. So we have calculated all the three networks, network address. So the first network, let's take, that is 10.0.0.0. So there it is. This is the subnet mask and this is the wildcard mask. So this is my configuration of EIGRP. And again I have to write no auto, that is no auto summary. Then I have to write passive interface. That is also very, very much required. That is what is my passive interface. So I'm just writing the full form. Otherwise we write the short form. So first we need to write all the three passive interfaces. That is Gigaport 00, Gigaport 01, and 02. Then we need to write no auto in a very short manner and a very concise manner. So this is my configuration. I need to go and configure this router 1. This is my router 1 configuration. Let's go and do the configuration for router 2. This is for router 1. I'm pasting it in the chat box for all of you. So that you can understand. So the same topology, I have given you the configuration for EIGRP in case of router 1. I am going and configuring R2, router 2. So the network was in that case 172.16. So this is a simple configuration for R2. You have to go and configure the same here in R2. Okay. So configuration of EIGRP and RIP is both in the IPv6 same. Instead of RIP, you have to write EIGRP and the number 1. So this is the configuration of router 2. I'm just going and configuring that. And after that, if you go and check the configuration, you can see the available changes in the routing table. So this is the routing table. You can see D means actually EIGRP, and you can see a huge matrix. This is calculated. So 90 slash some value is there. So this is basically EIGRP. So once I configure EIGRP, I'm going and again resetting all the router, and then I will be configuring the OSPF, the basics of OSPF. So let's do one thing. Again, I'm going and reloading the router. And here also, go and sorry, reloading the router. Go and check the routing table. No routing is configured yet. So let me just quickly take you through the basics of OSPF. So OSPF is basically divided into a hierarchical network. So for example, I'm having 100 routers, 50 routers. So I actually split them into different zones, or I can say we can split them into different areas. We are having core area, not so stubby area, that is a part of CCNP. So here it is saying that OSPF works on Dijkstra's algorithm. OSPF is open shortest path first. So here in this first, we are going to talk about single area OSPF configuration. Then we will go and see the OSPF, that is multi-area OSPF configuration. Now first we will see the OSPF version 2, that is for IPv4 network. Then we will go and see the configuration for OSPF v3, that is for IPv6 network. So first go and see single area OSPF v3. So now I am going to concentrate on OSPF v2, that is single area OSPF v2. Okay. The configuration for OSPF single area OSPF v2 will be same or more or less same, which we have done in the case of EIGRP. Now all of you have EIGRP configuration. So if I actually use, since it is almost the same. Okay. Now let's go and check it. What is the configuration? So OSPF, the best part is that there is some designated router. Now in a previous module I have discussed you, that is root bridge, that is in spanning tree protocol. Here also in a routing zone or in an area, there are a lot of different routers are there. Let me tell you that the router first is called designated router, the captain of the ship, then BDR, the vice captain, then ABR, then ASBR. Let's understand the role of all the different routers. Here is basically happens to be the designated router. Designated router decides which path should be the best path or shortest path. So you can always go and ask that how DR will select. But before that we need to understand who will be selected as a DR. Okay, in a team you cannot have a consistent player or 12th man of a cricket man who will become a captain. You will be having Virat Kohli, Mahendra Singh Dhoni or Sachin Tendulkar, who has been very reputed players or performers in the captain. So here also, in all the routers where having best connection or the best links will be actually, designated as TR or designated router. So like that, this DR and BDR selection will be there. ABR is basically a router. So for example, I am having 2-3 routers. And for example, R1 and R2, these are the two routers. So if R1 is connected to another area, then we can say R1 is the area border router. Now R1 and R2, if R1 is connected to other gateway, routing gateway, then it will be calling as autonomous system border router. So normally, in routing gateway, all the routers are in a single autonomous system. So we have seen they have given read PIGRP 1. That 1 is the number of that autonomous system. So if I write 2, then it will belong to a different autonomous system. So that is the part of it. Okay. So now let's go and see the different things. So initially, that process of SPF algorithm, first everyone is sending the hello packet. So when they are sending the hello packet, now next with that data description packet goes. Okay. So this LSDB, that is link state database, is formed. And after that, what happens after sending that link state advertisement, that is OSPF, they exchange this, then this LSDB is formed, and then they can find out the best path. Okay, that is shortest path. That SPF is still formed. So who is doing all those things? That is the DR and BDR. Okay. So that is the concept part. Now let's see the configuration part. So for example, we are having from R1 to R5. It is going by R2, R3 and R4. Okay. So in OSPF it is not like that we will be only choosing the best path. Of course, the best path will be chosen, but we can also do some load balancing and other things. Okay. So in routing protocol, we have to find out the best path and shortest path, and depending on the better bandwidth and all, we have to choose the best path. Okay. Now this is a single area, OSPF protocol, and this is an example of a multi-area OSPF protocol. So this is the main R1 and R2. We'll expand and create area 1 and another area, that is, we can give any name. Area 0 happens to be the core area. We call it as core area, and we are having some other area like stub area, not so stubby area and other things. Okay. So that is a part of multi-area OSPF. You need to check, you need to go and see what are the different areas are there. Now OSPF B3, the difference between OSPF B2 and B3 is okay. OSPF B2 and B3, there is no much difference. Only OSPF version 2 works with IPv4 network and OSPF B3 works with IPv6 network. Okay. Pardon? IPv6. Means OSPF B3, the configuration is different, and OSPF B2 configuration is different. OSPF B2 when we configure for IPv4 address, and OSPF B3 we configure it for IPv6 address. But both are hierarchical, both are having this hello database, this different, this different. I mean, you can go and see the video. I'm not running the OSPF packet and this link state update protocol. Everything is same. Only that this packet structure will be different because they will be using IPv4 addressing structure, and OSPF B3 will be using IPv6 addressing. Okay. Now you go and see the OSPF operation. See, always there is the initial state, then it will be, the base link will be up, or if you have a backup link that will be there. If any link goes down, immediately the backup link will be active, because there is a, not periodic update, the triggered update is there. It is always going and checking that all links are working properly or not. If it is not, then immediately, DR will select the next best path. For example, if DR goes down, then BDR will become DR and another BDR will be selected. So this is the best part of OSPF. So there are three things happen. First, when OSPF starts, it creates a neighbor table, then it creates a topology table, and finally it creates a routing table. Now there is a need of DR and BDR which is very well explained in this particular 1.3.7. So now I'm going to discuss about the configuration of single area OSPF. So first concept is what do you mean by router ID? In OSPF, the one more configuration is there that each and every router has a router ID. The router ID is basically very, very influential for creating this DR media selection. So normally what we do, we can manually go and create a router ID. Here in this case, if R1 I am configuring. So for example, enable configure key. Router OSPF 1. Then I will be writing router ID 1.1.1. So that's the best part here. Because if I select that, the lowest router ID, so this is a manual configuration against it, will be selected as a DR. So that's why, we should have a configuration. So for example, I decide that R1 needs to, so for example, R1 here I'm configuring the enable config key. Then I'm writing router OSPF 1. So R1, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to configure the router ID 1.1.1. So I'm giving this router as a reference. Similarly, you can configure R2 and the PRI2 and the router ID as 2.2.2. So this plays a very, very important role in both the router when I'm configuring. So here, whenever I'm configuring, I have configured 1.1.1 router ID. Similarly, I go and configure 2.2.2 as the router ID of the second one. Okay. So this is the router ID which is automatically selected. That is the lowest ID. For example, this router 1 is connected to 4 different interfaces. Sometimes we also create a dummy interface like Bluetooth interface and all, and there we can also give a IP, that is interface LO0, and then I keep 1.1.1.1 to 55 to 55 to 55. If I do not want to give a router ID, or I am having difficulty to give a router ID, I can still create an interface with a very lowest IP. That is, I can still do what I can do. I can create an interface LO0. Then I can give IP address 1.1.1.1, then 255.255. So in that particular fashion, when I create this, if I do not give a router ID also, by default this will take it. This will be taken as a router. So this is the lowest time. This kind of configuration also we can do. Okay. So now coming back to the next discussion, router ID, that how you can configure the router ID, manually you can configure, or here it is showing that you can have a loop back interface. You can see this is there. Okay. Now this is you can go and always modify the router ID, but whenever we are modifying the router ID after the configuration is over, then we have to use the clear IP SPF process so that DR and BDR connection will be restarted again. Okay. So this is the syntax checker. I'm going to some other discussion, that is hierarchical routing or point-to-point network SPF network. Point-to-point SPF network is kind of a plugin where we don't have much more complex network. But OSPF is meant for complex network. We can actually go and create a lot of complex network with OSPF. Okay. So first and foremost, I have to configure the OSPF. Okay. So without wasting any time, yes. Someone is asking me about. Just copying the configuration. If you have done it, here in the case of flip, so this is what my configuration. What I have to do in the router one, I have to go and configure, that is, I have to mention the area 0. So this is my configuration. So what I have to do, I have to add area 0 at the end of all, and that will be my configuration. Okay. So this is the configuration of router 1. So I have to go and configure the router 1 in that particular fashion. Similarly, so I'm just copying and pasting it here. The chat box, I'm providing you the details so that you can see the configuration. So this is the configuration of R1. Only one thing that you have to specify which area it belongs to. If you say that no, it is belonging to default area, that doesn't matter. You have to specify. Then again, I have to go and configure this one. Next router. Here, okay. So 72.60. Pardon? No, area is basically how you split. For example, this R1 and R2 and R3. You decide that R1 and R2 is a part of core network. Okay, and of course, designated backup, designated router, all those things will be part of core area, that is area 0 only. But there is a hierarchical part. Just now I have shown you the previous हाँ सर बताइए. Hello. Yes sir, I can hear you. हाँ सर, आपका डाउट बताइए. Area 0 means core area, main area. For example, R1 and R2, I have decided both will be the main area. That is core area. Okay. Now, if I see the another router, for example, I am introducing, and for example, this is another router, for example, R3 or R4. But if I actually create a connection from here to here, now you can also make all the 3 routers as part of core area. Or what you can do, you can create a separate area altogether. For example, now they have decided that this particular R1 and R4, this is a part of another area. Now, if you decide that this will be part of another area, you can design and then you have to configure this ports and all those things with some other area. For example, area 1. I'm not going to do that now, but okay, fine. Eventually, we will be discussing that. So you can split them into multiple areas. Now this is, I have decided both will be the part of core area. So this is also router 2 is also part of your core area. So you have to go and configure this in the base PS. Now let's go and configure this. Now what I have done, I have go on range and configure this. Okay. Now both are now part of OSPF. Now you can go and see the routing table. This is the routing table, and okay, this OSPF is now created. Now you can see, if you go and see, no need to think again, but you can still check it. TP1 to TP4. This will be successful eventually. Now you can see here now configured, and now we have configured the OSPF core area. This core area routing we have configured. So this is the, so if you would like to remove, for example, this is the example of how you can configure further. You can just remove it. For example, you would like to configure, for example, router OSPF autonomous system ASD, and you have configured with a wrong configuration. So you have to just write no. After that, you have to go and you have specify, for example, that IP OSPF chain area 0. So that you can do. So in our case, we have to go and see interface gigaport 00. We are writing IP interface IP OSPF 1 area 0. Similarly, we can go and write the same in all the different interfaces, that is gigaport 00, gigaport 01, gigaport 02. So if I want, then to be part of that, that's the additional configuration. Not required, but if you still want to do some modifications, you can go and do, and then do the configuration accordingly. So if you don't want to create this in network, so we can still go and configure this. These things we are going to do it here, so say not a problem. Then we can still go and do it. So this kind of configuration is also a part. Okay. So now we can go and check this. Here also we can decide upon which is the passive interface. So for example, if you have any loopback interface, I will be configuring them as a passive area interface. So here in this case, what I have to do, for example, I have configured WSPF1 and I have created a boot type 0. Then I have to write router WSPF1 and then I have to configure the passive interface in that router because I don't want this unnecessarily loopback address will be part of this routing. That's why you have to mention. Okay. So this is the configuration of WSPF, the basic WSPF. Okay. So point-to-point single area WSPF configuration, I'm just downloading. Okay. So what all of you can do, or I can go and paste it in the, I can paste it in the WhatsApp. For example, when I'm pasting it, all of you please go and download this file and check it. Now this is already there. That code. So I would request all of you to go and practice these two files I have added. So this is the guideline. Now this will be helping you. Okay. These two files I have sent you to WhatsApp. So please go and check it. Now coming back to what we have blocked out. So WSPF configuration. Yes. Just discuss the basic WSPF configuration. Now this is a single area configuration. If you wanted to configure multi-area, you just go and configure. That is the configuration part is very easy. Okay. So you can go and see still the WSPF configuration of version 3. It is more or less same. So you go through this exercise. Then today I'm not going to teach anything more. So just go and practice this basic things that I have found. Okay. So here I'm just closing my recording.